Good evening. I'm Rick Brucing, and I'll be your host today with Get It On. Today I have the pleasure of being with Dan Harshberger and Bob Bell, the editors and publishers of the Razz Revue. Bob, we'll start off with you and ask you what initially started you and what made you decide to go into creating a humor magazine?
Well, Dan and I decided that this state has supported a humor newspaper for 50 years or so, the Arizona Republic, and we thought that perhaps a magazine would do well too, and so we started the Razz Revue.
Mm-hmm. And what are some of your regular features that you put in the magazine?
Well, we've got letters. We have
big feature
letters.
We've got a lot of letters in there.
Doper-Oper, which, by the way, is drawn by a guy named Boze, a well-known southwestern artist. And let's see, we have classic hairdos, which is a regular feature. And
letters, you forgot letters.
No, I said letters earlier, I think. But it probably is the biggest feature we have. Letters.
Okay. That's it for the features, okay.
Letters are in there.
And you do have letters. Right. Who makes up the staff? How many staffers are there on your magazine?
Let's see, did you say?
Three.
Three?
It's about three people that basically do the funny stuff, and then there's another, 75 people who chip in the stuff that maybe you don't think is as funny.
You know, anything that's funny, we basically did it. So, you know, you pretty well reason that out.
How's your magazine different from other humor magazines?
Basically, other humor magazines are perpetrated on making money, and we've tried to go a different route on that, and we've succeeded the last 4 years. We haven't made a dime.
Okay. What do you think the best issue you've put out was? And why was it the best issue?
I would say the best issue was probably the wonderful Russ for Governor issue.
That sucked, I thought.
Really? Well, well, of course you don't like Russ, so that's probably the reason.
Well, it just didn't have it. It didn't, wasn't funny.
Well, then what about ERA issue? I think was the best one.
Okay, why was that the best issue?
Well, because he didn't complain that I said that. So that would. No, it brought about the passing of the ERA in Arizona. You know, it passed.
Yeah, we got a lot of
a
publicity
couple years ago here. So, and we did the major groundwork for that through that issue.
Okay, now, what was your circulation on an issue like that?
253.
3,000?
No, 250. 5,000. We eventually sell 5,000
of each issue.
Of each issue. When that day comes, I'll let you know.
And which issue was the least popular of all your issues? Maybe you got...
Volume 1, number 4.
Yeah.
Why was that?
We don't know. We always thought it was a great issue, and...
it was bland.
It was bland.
Yeah. It had a yellow cover.
It had a yellow cover. I think that's... Yeah. Yellow doesn't sell well in Arizona.
Yeah. It's too hot.
It's hot. That's one thing, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And what other types of activities? I understand that you're involved in some other activities other than the magazine right now.
Mm-hmm.
What are those? You're married? Yeah. And I know you're playing in the band, but aren't you involved in some radio syndications now?
Right. We sure are. We haven't got it syndicated yet, but we're in the process of finding out what syndication means.
Okay. Now, I understand that you have brought a film clip of the production of that series right now. You have it with us in the studio.
So I would like to say that the radio show is... it's on the Doper-Oper, and it'll be shown nationwide. Should we look at the film now, Rick?
Okay,
let's take a look at it.
All right. Does the Razz create any jokes with retrospect to the advancement of color humor? Or more simply, what is the social significance of the Razz in the late 70s?
I'm glad you asked that. That is a good question. Now, I would say the existentialism of the humor of the triad of the equal part of humor versus comedy versus
excuse me, Dan. Thank you. We're going to have to break right now.
I think it has a lot to do with the...
No, excuse me. We're going to have to break now for this commercial message.
I would say existentialism.
Dan, how do you plan on marketing your new show? Your show we just saw.
Oh, the radio show? Well, hopefully we're not going to peddle it door to door like we do the magazine. We're going to try and get, say, a major syndication interested in it by, you know, mailing off samples of it and so forth.
See, why did you choose going with a radio syndication instead of perhaps a record album?
Well, mainly, I think we realized more profit off of a syndication than off of a record album. And there's always the chance of coming out with a record album after the show's successful, too.
And one other thing, we didn't know anybody that owns one of those machines that makes the wax and kind of threads it together. And we had some friends who had a radio and that radio show. So,
Are there any chances the show may go on the road if it's successful?
well, we haven't really got to that level yet. We're still writing the script. But, yeah, we've thought about that, of actually putting the band on the road and sending them out to Kingman, Wickiup, that area.
Well, Dan and Bill, Bob, I want to thank you very much.
Bob, Rick.
Bob.
Not Bill. We know your name's Rick. But
I want to thank you very much for being with us on the show today.
My pleasure.
Nice
Hell of a
meeting
guy.
you. Thank you.